for the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Now, what makes sports a success are the players who play it. The characters make it worth watching. You're invested in a movie when you feel for the actors. Similarly, you are invested in a sport when you relate to the star players in it. That is why certain characters are important to make a sport thrive and survive. That's what makes sports worth watching and following. Today on the show, we will talk about two such players who really bring out the emotions in the fans. You can love them, you can hate them, but you just won't be able to ignore them. Stay on to find out more. And on a more shocking note though, what comes along with fame and stardom for big football stars like Lionel Messi? Its lack of safety and fear for the lives of their families. All this and more lined up for you today, but first, a look at the headlines in Sports 360. Spanish footballer Jenni Hermoso was summoned by a judge yesterday. The judge is investigating the events surrounding Luis Rubiales kissing Hermoso after Spain's World Cup win. Hermoso's teammates were also summoned by the judge to give witness accounts. Venezuela drew 1-1 with Peru in today's FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier. After the match, a diplomatic spat erupted between the two nations. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has accused Peru of trying to kidnap the Venezuelan team. Maduro claimed that Peru's government deliberately refused to refuel the aircraft which was going to fly the Venezuelan team back. The aircraft was finally allowed to fly out of Peru after a 4-hour delay. Scottish club Celtic FC has been fined $19,000 after their fans waved Palestinian flags. UEFA has delivered the verdict almost 1 month after Celtic played against Atletico Madrid in October. UEFA says that displaying Palestinian flags were deemed to be provocative and offensive in nature. In tennis, Australia beat the Czech Republic 2-1 to reach the Davis Cup semi-final. Thomas Muchach gave the Czech Republic an early lead. However, world number 12 Alex de Minaur and Wimbledon doubles champion Matthew Ebden delivered wins for Australia. The semi-final will be played tomorrow where Australia will face Finland. And basketball star LeBron James has become the first player to score over 39,000 points in the NBA. 38-year-old James surpassed Lakers legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the leading scorer of all time. The milestone came as Los Angeles Lakers beat Utah Jazz 131-99 last night. James contributed to the win with 17 points. The prodigal son returns. The fiery leader is back to where it all started. Feels like the most successful, lucrative league in the world, the Indian Premier League has come a full circle. If your fond memories of the Kolkata franchise were during the glory days when they won IPL titles, you're in for a treat. It's time to hit rewind on that play button because Gautam Gambhir has been signed up as a mentor of the Kolkata Knight Riders franchise starting next year. Wow, to think this couldn't get more goosebumpy. Here's what the former KKR skipper said right after the news came out.
I am not an emotional person and not many things move me. But this is different. This is back to where it all started. Today, there's a lump in my throat and fire in my heart as I think about slipping into that purple and gold jersey once again. I am not only coming back to KKR, but I am coming back to the city of joy. I am back. I am hungry. I am number 23. Army KKR.
Now, we know you are rarely moved and show how sentimental you really are, Gautam. We've seen you play and then coach and then do some commentary too. But this feels special and different. And you can sense the emotion in his message, a lump in his throat and fire in his heart. The news has gotten everyone excited and there is this air of expectancy hanging about this. Kolkata has had a horrid last season. Their captain, Shreyas Iyer, was injured and missed all of the campaign. And Kolkata, despite some heroics that produced one of the most memorable moments of IPL all time. We remember that Rinku Singh's match-winning knock. Despite all of that, KKR still managed to only finish 7th. The Chandrakant Pandit magic that helped Vidarbha in their stunning domestic campaign was absent. The senior hands were lackluster, seemed like they lacked the spark and that little extra something, and in walks Gautam Gambhir. We obviously don't know how IPL 2024 will pan out, but fans are already steeped with expectations of this being a very special year. The owner, Shah Rukh Khan, too, couldn't contain his emotion and excitement. He's had an incredible bond with Gambhir in that they have created moments that warms the KKR fan even today.
Gautam Gambhir has always been part of the family, and this is our captain coming back home in a different avatar as a mentor. He was sorely missed, and now we all look forward to Chandu sir and Gautam in instilling the never say die spirit and of sportsmanship they stand for in creating magic with Team KKR.
Also, Gambhir's return to purple and gold just brings back memories of a time when KKR was one of the most successful franchises in the Indian Premier League setup. During the time that Gambhir spearheaded the team, which was from 2011 to 2017, Kolkata Knight Riders made it to 5 playoffs and won the title twice, once in 2012 and a second time in 2014. What an incredible run, truly. But what also comes to mind is all his run-ins and tiffs. The reason Gambhir is quite followed and watched so much more has a lot to do with the kind of persona he has. He's quite a fiery character, and his presence adds that dimension to any side he's a part of. We cannot forget his fights on the field when it came to being a part of the Indian setup, of course, especially his war of words with Pakistani and Aussie cricketers in the past. Fans love some heat and a fiery exchange of passion, and when Gambhir is involved, you can be sure there will always be a lot of that. When it came to his KKR stint, he even had a massive face-off with Chennai Super Kings, which is one of the most successful franchises in the league. He had a run-in with MS Dhoni himself during the final, where Kolkata Knight Riders beat the Chennai Super Kings. Of course, all of that is water under the bridge, but some face-offs are unforgettable, like earlier this year in the 2023 IPL season, when Gambhir went head-on with Royal Challengers Bangalore captain Virat Kohli. This came after RCB beat Lucknow Super Giants. The franchise Gambhir was a mentor of the last 2 years. The players had a few tiffs during the game, and Gambhir decided it was time for him to step in and defend his players and stand up to Virat Kohli himself. The matter was intense, and just about every camera caught the heated exchange between the two Delhi boys going at each other. Virat Kohli was visibly miffed, and that was confirmed with some of the statements he ended up making on their digital platform post the win, saying if you can't learn to take a jibe, then don't give one. Gambhir, as a cricketer, always wore his heart on his sleeve. He's quick to temper, and a lot of this has been while he did commentary as well. He doesn't hold back his praise nor his criticisms. He calls it like he thinks it is about any player or situations, and that's what makes him a very watchable character in the framework of the sport. Now, we always talk about cricket being a gentleman's sport, a gentleman's game, but about decorum and maintaining the sanctity and ethics of the sport. But at times, it is characters like Gautam Gambhir who, with their unconventional demeanor, brings that edge to the sport and the coverage. And with so much cricket and fatigue also setting in, I guess you need all different characters to make fans fall in love with the sport once again. So this return to base by Gautam Gambhir to Kolkata Knight Riders might just reignite not just the franchise's fortunes, but also that of the IPL, with some fresh rivalries to look forward to and some more heated contests, both on and off the field. Now, if there is one athlete that is breaking all records, it's Serbian sensation Novak Djokovic, and what a year he has had. Breaking tennis records has become the norm for Djokovic. The 36-year-old is showing no signs of stopping, and captain Serbia has seen a massive increase in fan following. Though some tennis followers are yet to give Djokovic his due, we feel that the Serbian has earned his fair share of respect. Djokovic is currently ranked world #1. Mind you, he's been playing professional tennis for almost 20 years. And even at this age, he's beating all the younger players. It can't all be just owing to the experience. Some of it definitely has to be fitness of both the body and the mind. Djokovic's mentality is almost tungsten-like, extremely hard to shatter. He doesn't give up easily. In fact, he doesn't give up at all. Djokovic has played through some of the greatest years that tennis has produced. He has competed against legends like Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Federer was the senior most of the trio and naturally the first to retire. Nadal, on the other hand, is just a year older to Djokovic, and the Spaniard has not been able to make waves this year. He's been off the field after suffering a back injury during the Australian Open earlier this year. That leaves us with one person standing, Novak Djokovic, who has widened the gap between himself and Nadal. Djokovic has set multiple new records in the 2023 season alone. He has now won the most Grand Slams by a male player. This year, Djokovic overtook Nadal to win his 24th Grand Slam title. This came when he won the US Open in September. Djokovic also broke Federer's long-standing record with last week's win at the ATP Finals, the season ender. The Serbian has now won 7 such ATP Final titles, one more than Federer. In fact, Roger Federer's consistency at the majors was quite remarkable. The Swiss tennis legend held the record for most appearances in Grand Slam semi-finals. Well, that was until Djokovic made his 47th appearance in the US Open semi-final. Now, winning all 4 majors is one of the hardest feats in tennis. We know it. Doing it once is enough to qualify a player to be considered in the list of greats. Well, this year, Djokovic set a new record when he won all majors 3 times over. He overtook Rafael Nadal, Roy Emerson and Rod Laver, who have won each major twice in their careers. And top all of this, Djokovic has spent 11 weeks as world number 1 this year. This has taken his total to over 400 weeks. That's right, 400 weeks of holding the top spot throughout his career. That is stunning. The numbers clearly put Djokovic ahead of Federer and Nadal. And the Serbian has a lot more steam left in him. Listen to what he had to say after he clinched the ATP Finals title.
You know, it's a great reward, I think, for what my team and I and my family have been through this year, being one of the, most successful years in my career that I ever had. 4 out of 5 major tournaments I won and played finals in Wimbledon. So, I couldn't ask for more, to be honest. I'm very, very proud of this season.
And he's in no mood to apply brakes to his swinging career. Djokovic is already mapping how he plans to dominate the courts next year. Listen in.
Well, you can win 4 slams and Olympic gold. Let's see, I have always the highest ambitions and goals, so that's not going to be different for the next year, that's for sure. The drive that I have is still there. My body has been serving me well, listening to me well. I have a great team of people around me. Motivation, especially for the biggest tournaments in sport, is still present, so it still inspires me to keep going.
And what's carrying Djokovic forward is his mentality. It's almost like he sleeps, eats and thinks of only winning. His age, his previous injuries, younger competition, controversies, nothing seemed to hold Djokovic back, and it's because of his mindset. And he wants his competition to feel that pressure. It is his way of getting under their nerves and slowly outworking them on the court.
Yeah, I want them to feel that kind of pressure, and when they play me, I want them to feel that it's going to be it's going to require the best tennis from them in order to win against me. So that's what I want my opponents to feel, no doubt, because that helps mentally coming into the match.
This is but just a small glimpse into how Djokovic really thinks. It's almost eerie and scary, particularly if you have to go up against someone like him. Djokovic draws from his years of experience to beat his competition using skill and smarts. Like how he came back stronger and with another plan to break Jannik Sinner in the final of the ATP season ender, especially after he lost to him in the league stage. His match-winning mindset and the hunger to stay at the top are not going to fade away anytime soon. Especially when you listen to him, you know it's going to just keep intensifying. Djokovic is clearly one of the greats of tennis. The numbers don't lie. The wins don't lie. It's just a matter of time before he gets the status of greatest of all time. Now, for South American football players, this year has been a scary time for their families. Violence has increased and the families of players are being targeted. Now, usually football is considered its very own religion in South America. People take football too seriously there, and the greats of football are almost always considered gods. We've seen this with Argentine legend Diego Maradona and Brazil's superstar Pelé. South American fans gave them love like never seen before. But that was almost 2 decades ago. Things are a lot more different now and more on the unsafe side. And it's the families of players that are being honored, hounded in fact, and targeted. Because they are an easy and soft target. And it's happened with the biggest names and players in football, including Argentina's World Cup winning captain Lionel Messi, Brazil's ace striker Neymar, and Colombia's young talent Luis Diaz. Their families have been victims of gang violence, and all of it happened this year alone. Imagine you're one of top most footballers in the world and your family members are unsafe. How do you continue playing? How do you ensure your family's safety, and what do you do to curb such personal attacks?
Luis Diaz scoring not once but twice this week for Colombia as they beat Brazil 2-1, and he looked towards his father and both broke into tears. The tears were not so much for the win or the goals scored, it was the culmination of an ordeal that had torn the Diaz family. The tears were to symbolize that Diaz Sr. could actually see his son play football once again. Something that was bleak when on October 28th, armed men kidnapped the father and mother of Colombian footballer Luis Diaz. The incident took place in a small town called Barrancas in northern Colombia. After the incident, Luis Diaz was informed of the kidnapping by the Colombian government. A day later, Colombia's National Liberation Army took responsibility for the kidnapping. The group is an anti-government guerrilla force. They've been fighting against the government and their policies for decades, and Luis Diaz's family got caught in the crossfire. The guerrilla group were using Diaz's father as leverage against the government, a cheap trick which got international attention. After 3 weeks in captivity, Diaz's father was released by the Colombian National Army and was reunited with his family. It was an outpour of emotion, and once Luis Diaz was reunited with his father, he found his mojo back. And this is not a standalone case. In November, Brazilian forward Neymar's family members were targeted in the Brazilian city of Sao Paulo. Armed robbers broke into the home of Neymar's partner, Bruna Biancardi. The gunmen took Biancardi's parents hostage in what became an attempted kidnapping event. Brazilian police officials responded immediately and reached at the crime scene within minutes. They found Biancardi's parents bound and gagged. Luckily, Neymar's partner and their 1-year-old daughter were not at home. The suspects managed to escape as they stole luxury bags, watches and jewelry, all of which was valued over $100,000. Police officials launched a manhunt and nabbed one of the suspects. The 19-year-old confessed to the crime, while the remaining 2 suspects are still at large. Neymar took to social media to talk about the attack but didn't get into details. It was a frightening attack on his family, and it was sheer luck that his infant daughter was not in the house when the armed robbery took place. Lionel Messi is a living legend in Argentina. After he led his country to World Cup victory in 2022, some even call him God. But despite his football achievements, Messi has indirectly been targeted by the mafia. In March this year, gunmen fired 14 shots at a local supermarket. The shop is owned and run by the family of Messi's wife. The armed men even left a handwritten message for the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner. Here's what the chilling message said.
Messi, we're waiting for you. Hafkin is a narco. He won't take care of you.
Now Pablo Hafkin is the mayor of Messi's hometown Rosario. After the incident, Hafkin added additional security members outside the supermart. The mayor said that local mafia goons were targeting Messi's family to gain clout. But Messi's wife and her family were unhappy with the incident. They said the shooting incident was concerning. Senior politicians stepped in and labelled it an act of terrorism by the mafia, and a strong crackdown on crime was announced. There have been no incidents since then. But this just goes to show that even the greatest football player on earth is susceptible to be targeted when the mafia wants it. We're not sure how many more such incidents will occur and how many more families of football players will be targeted. But it shows that there is a cost to fame which is coming in the form of fear.
Now that's all we have in today's show. But before we leave, it's time for our last serve. Now there are visuals that depict stories beyond the field. Today we leave you with midfielder Gavi, returning to training as a spectator on his crutches. This after tearing his ACL in fact, while playing for Spain on the weekend. Just look at the kind of welcome he received. A lot of love in that frame. But yes, that brings us to a close here on Firstpost today. We hope you enjoyed this edition as much as we did. And for now, of course, it's bye-bye. I'll see you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Till then, of course, take care and good night.